Now, welcome to our Gravity Rush walkthrough. Yeah, it's going to be a small walkthrough, and stated on the newscast previously that we're going to have a new walkthrough series. I'm going to talk about the game's conventional concepts. What are you playing in the game? What is the thing you do in this game? Because lots of times I personally feel that games sometimes don't do their best job conveying what the game's about. So this is going to go through what this game is about, or any of our walkthrough stuff will go through what is the thing you do in the game. We might touch upon the story slightly, but first off and foremost, you just want to know what is it you do in the game, the majority of the game. Because sometimes games have a difficult time conveying that to you. So this is not going to be a walkthrough of the entire game, merely just portions enough of the meat of what you do to understand what's going on. Now here you see the opening of the game. That was actually me wiggling that apple to make it fall. It's kind of cool. The language of the people are speaking in the game is kind of unknown, so similar to Shadow of the Colossus and Ico, your character, when they speak, you don't really know exactly what they're saying. They'll just have little subtitles, or the language, I would say, you don't really fully get or understand. The art direction is really great in this game. This is not necessarily a review. This is just walking through what you're going to be seeing. What you see represented here is how the game looks like all the time. It's not CG. It's not anything altered in any way. It's exactly what it's going to look like through the game. Just so you understand. So if you see the trailers of it, you understand that that is of the nature of what the game is going to be looking like. Yeah, that's about it. I'm going to go on a little further to discuss all the other things that go on in this game. The locations are actually pretty big in this title regarding the cities. You get to explore them off. It's more easier as we sort of fast forward a little bit to see how you physically play the game. The story itself, I don't want to say it's irrelevant. It's a large part of, I believe, why I'm playing the game. I really love the story, but that's very subjective. Some people may like it, some people may hate it and feel it's like cliche. I personally like it. The gameplay stuff is primarily what I think majority of people want to really see with this game to get, okay, should we pick this up? Shouldn't we pick this up? I can't say whether this is a buy or not buy. I mean, I might want to save that for a review when I review the game. But right now, this is more so a walkthrough to say, what do I feel? What do I feel about the concept of the game? What do I feel about what I'm actually playing of this game? So if you will, we will fast forward just a little bit. So as you see here, continuing on terms of the story, the game itself is not actually told through any type of voice acting. It's mostly telling you through, these little like videos here. It's also told in parts, as you may see, like little episodes. And so you might see this is, about the story of the game. This is sort of the very, very, very beginning of the game. And it's sort of showing you the format in which the story is laid out. So don't expect any grandiose type of cutscene stuff that's going on or crazy voice acting work. This is how the story is told, which actually I'm completely fine with. But this is how you're going to be viewing the story in this game. I mean, they might say some stuff, but most of the stuff they say, if you see through like subtitle, it's essentially going to be in some like weird language, so you wouldn't be able to just auditory wise listen to anything that's being stated. Actually, I also think it's weird right here that this dude gets like wicked gains and just rips this shit apart. It's like, what the fuck? Like, look at that. Like, come on, bro. Where did this man get these gains from? They're calling her an outsider. A bunch of this is part of the story in regards to she just sort of appears in this realm. And now she's off to do her first task. Fast forward a little bit so you guys could see what that first task actually is. So as you see here, I am now beginning to use, or basically get ready to use my powers. Yeah, this is kind of weird feeling. It's basically, the best way to explain how this feels is almost like when you're using the Gnosis in Dead Space. When, not Gnosis, or when you're actually in zero gravity in Dead Space. That might be the best way of explaining it. So when you stand on this wall here, it feels like you are just walking on the ground. That's what it actually feels like when I'm doing here. Now, when I'm running here, it feels like I'm just running anywhere, like on a flat plane. That's the way it actually feels. You don't feel like you're upside down or right side up or anything. You just feel like the way you might feel in zero gravity and Dead Space. So when you move, you're seeing me fall. I'm now falling towards where we believe like gravity is shifting. So it sort of feels semi like Dead Space, but something a little bit different. It feels more fluid, more exact than Dead Space was. So you got this house floating away over here, and you have to save this little boy. We're all scared. So now using this power, you could go like stationary, like you could hover, I would say. And hovering is almost like this like default thing you could do. As you see, I failed my first time trying to do it. So when I'm just floating like this, that little circle is essentially where I'm aiming myself to be, where I'm aiming the gravity to turn to ground. So consider you're making this gravity turn to ground, solid, like you're making it point down. So every single time I'm, jumping around here and I'm failing miserably, I'm not getting that I have to put myself in that mode and then aim down, and now this has become the new ground. So anywhere I jump, I'm going to go straight down, which would be, bad. So if I jump down, I'm going to kill myself because I've created gravity to be that way. So now I'm making this the new ground, and look at me standing on the ground. So it gets a little confusing. And when you jump, you're jumping based on the gravity you just created. So I'm jumping on here, and anything that's aligned that way based on how I've made gravity is going to work. So let's say I jump on that thing in front of me, I would, fall. You have to make it that. So I'm pointing it down. Now I've created that. This becomes new ground. So it's a bit confusing. I'm trying my best to sort of explain and convey how I'm doing it or what it's sort of like. But when you play the game, you sort of get a hang of it. But I actually think that you kind of get the gist of what I mean in terms of what we're doing here. So now we're pointing at the ground. We're making this the new gravity on this little like piece of building here to save this boy. And you learn a bunch of tricks along the way. And of course you could like move yourself as you're falling down. So you could, let's say if you're jumping from a high place, you could sort of zigzag your way towards the ground so you don't kill yourself. But it's like once you sort of understand the mechanics of the game, you understand the universe of the game, you start to understand how these tricks get done. You start to get how everything is going on. You understand it a bit more. But this is something that clearly, a trailer or a commercial or anything can't explain this, to you. So the thing that's like grabbing this guy is like the main like enemy type in this game. They're these weird reddish crimson red looking things, and they have like these bright orange or yellow or bright yellow looking spots that you have to like the target points that you're supposed to hit. Yeah, I saved the kid, yay. But we'll go a little further into that later. I just wanted to show some of the basic points in terms of how the game is played, so that way you get to understand what you'll be doing in the game, what the game is about. So right here we are seeing the enemy type of the actual game. These little monstrous looking things, I think they're called the Navi. So you go and you're kicking the crap out of them. You have to hit these little orb things. Later you'll learn how to fight them while in mid-air and Gnosis. So these things are the main things you sort of fight in the actual game. You'll shoot these things at you and you can move out of the way. The top left you could see your health bar, which I for the most part am not worried about. I might be 5+ hours in and I haven't really worried about that. So the top left is going to be your health, and that top blue bar is going to be your gravity powers, I would say. So the longer you stay in your little hover gravity, the more that bar goes down, and that even consists of when you're changing gravity. Like over here you see how it's moving, that even changes if I'm, let's say, on a wall or something and I change direction. So right now I'm floating to do like this float kick thing where it's like you float and then you press the button to do your kick move, and she just hones in on it and does this cool like dive kick looking thing. Now, when you do have your Gnosis powers or your gravity powers, we're gonna just keep calling this Gnosis because of Dead Space. So when you do have your powers and you see that blue bar is now going down, if I decide to stick on a wall and I change the gravity to make that wall the ground for me or something, my powers are actually gonna keep depleting until I fall to where the real gravity is for real. So that green thing that I'm grabbing replenishes that. There are some areas in this game where the green gravity thing boosts your, powers once again. So let's say if I'm in a place where I have to keep using my floaty gravity powers to keep pointing me towards where I need to go, I'm gonna actually need to have a lot of those green things there to essentially sustain me. So the game does a good job at actually telling you, like, it does a great job in terms of its tutorial, in terms of helping you out. But this video is pretty much for anybody who does not own the game. If you want to know what it's telling you in the tutorial, you want to know if it's something, crazy, convoluted, is it hard to get, is it not hard to get, you want to know those things. So yeah, we're not going to go too much into any story stuff, as I don't wish to spoil anything if someone really wants to play it, specific to the story. So we'll just go ahead and, yeah, we'll fast forward a bit. Now this part here is very important. It is the map of the game and definitely helps in terms of finding your story locations. So that pink thing that's to the left, that's me, and the Star of David red looking thing is actually where I need to go at all times in terms of progressing the story. Now the game has little challenges that are like these little green things, which I'll show you further, and this helps you into seeing what are the things you could do outside of the main mission. I would consider them side missions. So this would tell you, in terms of saying what the tutorial mission is, it's basically saying if you did have a mission, it would tell you what the mission was. But for their tutorial's sake, they don't necessarily actually have that on here. They're just sort of showing for an example, but that's basically what's going to be like when you look for a mission. So finding where to go in this game for the next mission is not confusing. It is very much laid out in a very structural format. Now we get to see a little bit of me, doing some gravity gameplay stuff. So I'm making this building over here, I'm going to make it down. And it's hard to like control it in terms of me doing it. It's kind of hard sometimes. You have to sort of get used to it. The way I was controlling it is I was thinking I could just move my way to it. Whatever you make the gravity as down, it's just going to launch you there. You can't really manipulate that mid-air. You have to stop what you're doing. So here I try to sort of manipulate it, and I'm trying to point it several times to make it go down so I could like do that. But after a while you sort of get, used to it. And I'm going to go and I'm going to do a, mission marker here. So we're going to start one of these missions. You just go to whoever's there to start the actual mission. This is more so still a tutorial type mission. They're telling you to collect these stars. Now these stars that you collect, these little purple things, they help the things that happen around the town. So you might have a bridge, you might have like a dam or a fountain or some damn shit that needs to be fixed, and you're gonna need to get one of these stars to assist you in doing so. So you use your little acrobatic stuff to help you. This helps in terms of great practice too, because it helps you get used to the next parts in this game. So this is the type of game where you gradually need to get it. So now I'm going to point myself towards that being down, and I got it. So, and when I'm floating towards there and you see that little like circle blue thing appear in the front of the screen, understand that I'm pressing it to do that. So I have to press R1 to do that, to make her stop. If you don't press R1, you're just heading towards there like a freight train. So basically what I'm essentially doing is moving, stopping, and moving and stopping. You get the hang of it. So here I am making an attempt to try to just regularly platform it, and that is just not feasible. You also grab people, as you see. You see how the gravity's now changed? It's changed for everybody else too. So oh, well, those guys were falling. Wow, we were just killing those dudes over there. But you could grab people. You have another power, which I'll show later, in which you could basically grab things and objects and people, and you go on a little mission in which you have to collect things for your save spot, which I'll go through that next, because that's important for anybody who's playing a game they've never played before, of a brand new IP, of a series they've learned. That's important. They need to know, where can I save? Sometimes they just want to say, oh my god, I've played the opening of this game, but I have to go to bed, but I'm scared because I don't want to lose my progress that I put into the game, and they wander off and they press buttons and they're looking through menus. Fear not. I'm going to show you where you save in this game and how that actually gets done. Yeah. So now you're given these little gens here. Completed the mission. And here you go, town. Now you got your damn fountain back. And she's doing all these nice things for these people. These people don't really know who she is. And now the fountain's working again. Yay. So when you collect these gems, you could do those things. But you could do other things with the gems, which I'm actually going to go over a little bit later. And clearly, for, all intents and purposes, after this, we're going to fast forward to explain some more stuff away. So we're going to fast forward a little bit, so that way we could continue our playthrough and letting you guys know what's going on in this game. Now here I'll show you what you could use your little gems for in terms of your challenges and what you collect, and there's how you could use it to upgrade your character. Now I wouldn't call this game a RPG per se, but you can upgrade things. So as you keep continuing slots here, we're going to settings, you'll go to a slot called custom. In custom, you see we have gauge usage, we have health, we have recovery time, we have shift speed. Now I level up my gauge usage because I want to stay in 0G a little bit longer, and as you see in the top right, that little thing up there, that's going to tell me I have 0 of those gems now. So you could change other stuff in terms of core powers, in terms of combat. I'm going a little fast here, but while I was doing this, completely forgot that I was initially going to do a deep walkthrough thing, but those are, you could sort of easily check those out. And you kind of understand what they are. It's basically, you have special moves that you could add on to, and you have other things you could add to, like life, recovery, and other small things that your character does, but not that deep that I would say RPG lovers galore, like really come. You could already do these things, they just gradually affect the character. Some of them look like they might affect them even more, but not enough to say this is an RPG, purchase it for RPG reasons. I would never steer anyone towards that direction. I'm an RPG gamer myself. I play lots of RPGs, enough for me to at least define myself more so as that, and I would say to not purchase this game for that reason. I wouldn't want anybody to think that this game is only about that. So as you see here, the menu itself is really good. I love that it's showing you the mission stuff. It's giving you a good understanding of the lay of the land in terms of what's on the game, even in terms of side story stuff. So they'll show you all your challenges, they'll show you your side story, and they'll show you your regular story stuff. Not much in terms of the actual settings of the game itself, and yeah, I'm not even sure why I was looking at all these settings for. That was something I think I was trying to change in terms of inverted that I ended up changing back. But we'll fast forward a little more to show you how you get to your save spot. So now we are going to show you how you actually save in the actual game. So after you do the first initial mission, which I believe your first 2 missions, one of them was fighting dudes and the other one was saving this fountain. Its mission is called Home Sweet Home, and you're going to now go to this location that's right next to the fountain to figure out how to save. Now this might be confusing to some users, and I again do not want anybody to get confused. You have to play the first 2 missions in order to get to the thing where you save, or the first technically 3, because you still have to complete this one. So shows the scene, you know, and she's just like, oh man, I have no home and no place to take a shower. And here she is walking with high heels and shit. She's like, oh my god, open manhole. Oh my god. Who the fuck's leaving these manholes open? What kind of garbage ass city is this? What kind of garbage city is this, people? I question you. But this leads you to this next mission. Not really a spoiler-esque mission. It's not a mission that I would not show you unless it was detrimental to the game. Like, you kind of have to do this in order to save. You know, would not want all your challenge missions going to waste. So I would say, even though the game has, you know, an autosave, I would say to do this first before you do the rest of the other challenge missions that await in the actual game. So yeah, so here she is, all excited to have her new spot now. She's going to collect a series of items, and I'm going to show you in just a minute what's going on with grabbing items in the actual game, just to show another layer of what could be done inside the actual game. And yeah, we're going to fast forward just a bit to those scenes. Now later you find some old lady through doing this mission that, you know, has a chair that she doesn't want anymore. And now, you know, I'm going to show you exactly how you grab and pick up things in the actual game. Now, when you're next to a chair, you're going to have a button that you could press. When you're next to really any object, and which is kind of cool in this game. This changes later on because you're able to do much more stuff with them. So when you're next to an object, you're going to press circle, and it's essentially going to pick up things in that object. When you press X again, the object will basically be like attached to your area, to around you. Now, I thought when I was actually playing that I still needed to be in the Gnosis thing and like in my little 0G to actually grab it. Apparently you don't really need to be in 0G to continue to grab it, but it was initially what I was thinking when I actually did it, that I needed to stay in Gnosis. As I stopped, you know, look clearly seeing the chair next to you, you realize that you don't really need to. Now, it's showing you this chair that's here. You're going to grab the rest of these objects to continue to find, or you're going to grab the rest of these objects in mission to basically having your home be like a home, I guess. So you have these little informational things that basically lead you to continuing your mission. You're going to go to these when you're already inside of a mission. So once you're in a mission, you'll see those little like word bubbles, and that's just telling you that's where you go to continue said mission. Now, once you've completed this mission, your room will look, you know, sort of like this. You're going to have your bed, you're going to have your chair, you're going to have all your things that you would necessarily, I guess, need in there. And it shows a little montage of her collecting a whole bunch of dumpster crap. And she's like, yay, look at all this crap I collected. Living like that pack rat because they po. So it's going to go on to show you some more little scenes, show you some cool story stuff. And now you can save. So now this is the spot that you could basically save. If you don't, it's just gonna have whatever the auto save would be, which would just be from your last mission. So any of the other tasks that you do throughout the game would essentially almost be like ignored, like it wouldn't be saved. So I kind of recommend using this as like your default save anytime you're gonna stop playing the game, to find wherever home is and go there. Now there's little places around town where you could actually find these little manholes where they lead you right back to the save spot that allow you to save, so you don't really have to physically travel there every time. If you find like these little spots, they'll show you where you basically could save your game, or where you basically could warp and fast travel to save your actual game, which is kind of nice. Now yeah, that's gonna be conclude most of our video. I'm going to make a second video, I would say either before my review or even possibly after my review, that's gonna more so talk about the more complex things that you could actually do inside of this game. There's other things you could do, and there's more to this game than what I've showed, but not as much more. I'm more so going to show the complex things that could get done inside of this game, just to have everybody get an understanding about what is the base of this game in terms of what you do, and what's the more expansive stuff, the stuff that gets more complex once you've already know how to do the regular stuff in this game. So yeah, that's about it. Stay tuned for our other walkthroughs and our other games, and yeah, that's game.